Welcome back. If you saw this post a few weeks ago, April Fools! It's still technically a Shenyu only, but hold on just a second. I'll give you a little bit of context.
Mt Mintcang!
Yeah, I got this idea from Lantern Right and thought, wow, this would be a great April Fool's challenge. Now I haven't seen the vid from Eeks and I didn't know it existed, but I'm gonna go watch it after, and you all should too, so just a quick shout out to them. I had no idea what to expect going into this challenge, but if you like watching people struggle for long periods of time, then trust me, you've come to the right place. So let's see if we can collect every single mint in Teyvat to finally make Mt Mintcang. Here's a quick set of rules before we dive into the challenge. I can only use Shenyu. I have to collect every mint in Teyvat. I'm going off the Teyvat interactive map for the mint locations, but there are some problems with this, as you'll find out later. Every Whopper Flower that I accidentally trigger, I have to defeat. Every other enemy we can choose to ignore. I can only heal from Statues of the Seven or from Shenyun's Burst. And this is important because of the next rule. Every time Shenyun dies, I must use her to cook a suspicious sweet madame and then make her eat it. I'll make her cook and eat all of them at the end of the video, so do stick around until the end to see the immoral and unethical torture, I mean, the fun and exciting activity I put her through. But with that being said, let's just jump right into it. Mondstadt is the land of the free, until you reach the world border.
How about we explore the area ahead of us later?
We begin with a starting mint value of 1101. I would have just thrown them away for easy counting purposes, but we need all the mint we can get to make Mt Mintcang as beautiful as possible, so we're keeping the lot. It's just going to be a bit hard calculation-wise, but we'll get through it. Mondstadt is a great place to start our mint farming, because a lot of the land is relatively flat and easy to navigate. As you can see in the map here, there's just a lot of mint close together, and it's very easy to visualize our mint collection route. In fact, just in the first 10ish minutes or so, we had collected 44 mint. About 4 mint a minute, so a pretty strong start if I do say so myself. Mint in general can be very hard to spot sometimes because most of the time it's hidden next to some grass, but if you look out for the blue tip, it's a bit easier. Hello Dangerous Slime I abused in Columbina only. Nice to meet you again. But after 18 minutes, we've come across our first issue. There's no mint here. The map clearly has a mint marker right where I'm standing, but there's literally nothing here. I checked trees, bushes, everything, but no mint. Oh, what's this kid doing here? Botanist. Huh, I wonder what that could possibly mean. I think there's an extra mint. So, turns out I was right. The map just isn't correct. There's supposed to be 4 mint here, but there just happens to be 5 in game. The extra mint is actually this one over here. Turns out the map isn't a one-to-one representation, and it's actually community moderated, which means that some mint just isn't on the map. And other people just post fake images. Multiple times. Okay, it's not a big deal right now. Mondstadt just has a couple misplaced mint every now and then, but later on, this will become a huge issue. West? I'm pretty sure this is west, right? Never really been good with directions. Also, why is my cooldown getting reduced? Well, I guess it's the perfect time to talk about Shenyun's kit. And by kit, I mean like one single thing, because we're not using anything else this run. Shenyun's skill has 3 parts to it. Basically a hop, skip, jump. You can use this 2 ways. The first one is to get really good vertical movement to climb up walls just by spamming the skill. It can help get you over small heights, and it doesn't use any stamina, so the higher walls are a bit easier to climb. The other way is for fast forwards movement. To go the furthest distance, you need to make sure you land before using the skill again. Doing so will boost you forwards rather than up, and you get a ton of momentum this way. The skill expires at any stage after about a second of touching the ground, and instead, if you're mid-air, you can recast it within a good few seconds. And we don't even have to worry about fall damage as long as the skill doesn't expire. As for the cooldown reduction, Shenyun's skill actually has a final move where if you dive at enemies, it does quite a bit of damage, but it's not actually what we want to be doing while exploring. If we choose not to do this final attack, her skill cooldown gets reduced by 3 seconds, which means that we're able to use our skill more often, and this is obviously the best play for mint collecting. The extra speed is very useful, and what's even better is that we can change our weapon to Lost Prayer of the Sacred Winds for an extra 10% movement speed. Oh, here we go, 4 mint. Please don't be a trap. Our very first Whopper Flower went down, just like that. These guys are pretty easy. Surely we don't die a gruesome death to one of these guys later. Oh, I'm blind.
Skyward!
Oh! That was close. Now obviously, it's really easy to separate Teyvat by its main regions, but within each region, there are key locations and sub-regions that differentiate from each other. Mondstadt is pretty similar overall, but Stormterror's lair already has some noticeable differences. There's a lot more enemies and a lot more active ruin guards, which means we're constantly on the move while collecting mint here. Stay still and its homing missiles will wipe us out. With that being said, some mint are really recognizable because of how they load in-game. I'm not sure how exactly it works, but you can kinda spot mint in other plants from a further distance, especially if you're higher up. They have a distinct shape and color from the top view, and they actually load in first before other entities like animals and other plants who can only be seen from a closer range. Dragonspine is a bit special because the mint on the mountain are colored different. Instead of its typical green stem and leaves, Dragonspine mint is discolored and looks a lot more brown. The blue tip is a lot harder to spot against the white snow, but the mint itself is a lot easier compared to the typical green on green you see in the rest of Mondstadt. The one thing that is annoying here is the terrain. We don't have any pyro characters in our team, which means we can't light torches or anything else that can reduce the sheer cold bar. The other thing with Dragonspine is that it's a lot more mountainous, which means some mint is just a lot harder to find. Like this one mint here, I spent more than 5 minutes trying to find because I didn't know where exactly it was. Turns out it was inside the mountain the entire time. The early regions don't have this multi-layered map implemented, so it's a bit rough, but luckily for us, Dragonspine doesn't have too many secret caves and almost all of the mint is on the mountain rather than in it. Oh, that's not a f***ing... Oh, I'm gonna die to this thing. Oh, okay, that was close. This is the final Dragonspine one, and also the final Mondstadt mint, and it has now been collected, which means we have now collected 360 mints. That's right, we have collected 360 mint in Mondstadt in 1 hour, 48 minutes, and 5 seconds. The number on the interactive map is 359, but for some reason it also lists 3 of them all the way over in Fontaine, so it's actually 356. But we have collected 4 more than the actual documented amount, so we're already off to a good start. So on to the next region. Liyue is special because it has the most mint out of every other region. Sitting at a whopping 706 documented mint, you wouldn't think twice about Mt Mintcang being a real thing. Now, a new region brings new enemies, but the old ones are just as bad. I had to use her burst here to survive on a mere 85 HP, and the burning lasted forever because this stupid salmon turtle can just reapply danger from a million miles away. Compared to Mondstadt, Liyue as a region is a bit more mountainous, and finding mint in places like Minlin and Chongji Estuary can be really annoying, especially if you need to go up and down and up and down and up and down. Okay, you get the idea. Now this isn't a Liyue thing, but there's a lot of annoying mint just because it grows everywhere. Some of them are in places that are just a pain to get to, like on this small island here. But we've got another little hidden trick up our sleeve. Shenyun's exploration talent actually increases gliding speed by 15%, which means we can get to these places faster, and at the same time, it requires less stamina to do so. That's if we glide in the first place.
Wait!
Yeah, I didn't realize her skill ran out, so that's our first death confirmed. I'll make that 2. What? That was like the smallest leap ever. We're only about halfway done with Liyue, and honestly, it's a bit of a snooze fest watching me collect 700 mint, so how about a little fun fact segue, eh? Did you know that mint comes in over 30 different varieties, and the most common mint is spearmint? Mint are perennials, which means they grow throughout all seasons of the year. Mint plants originated from the Mediterranean region. Mint has been found in Egyptian tombs from as far back as 1000 BC. Mint gets its name from a Greek mythical character named Minthe. There's also a Melusine called a Minthe, who you make coffee for in a Fontaine daily commission. Anyways, there's an infamous whopper flower here that I accidentally triggered. I had no idea why I did this. The interaction text was on the screen for like a good 5 seconds. One of these have to be a Yeah, I knew it. Liyue as a region is pretty good for collecting mint. Even though there's a lot of it, many waypoints and statues are located at the top of mountains, there's not actually a lot of climbing required. There's just a lot of collection paths that just naturally flow downhill, and that stays true for the next sub-region too. Chenyu Vale gets a whole separate intro because it fundamentally works different from the rest of Liyue. Straight off the bat, we're able to use the carp orb things, which in my opinion is the best region-specific movement mechanic in the game. This will help us move around a lot quicker, it just feels so fun to use as well. You can even use them as a lookout point because, like I said earlier, Mint is easily recognizable from the top-down view. Some Mint are still pretty hard to find, like the Mint in Xiaoying village. The entire village is so incredibly aesthetic and colorful, and it's really hard to spot the 2 Mint blended in with the rest of the city. Complaining about things looking too good is crazy, by the way. I also got interrupted by Zibai's anecdote here, which took a couple of minutes but also put us right next to the mint we were heading towards anyways. So thanks Zibai, I'll plant 1 extra mint just for you. The good thing about Chenyu Vale is that there are a few places where the grass is a different color. This blue-green color doesn't really help too much, but it does make the mint a bit easier to spot. So what happened was I stopped playing for a bit and then my game crashed and I couldn't log into my account. I tried everything. I tried changing my network settings. I fiddled with my router a bit. I even tried to log in on my phone. I just ended up resetting the entire thing. So I uninstalled and reinstalled. So there's a few settings that might be a bit different. There's a good chunk of closely packed mint over in Chiwang Terrace, but the good thing is, again, there's a lot of downwards routes we can take. The bad thing is my ping did decide to take a nosedive and my game started lagging. But the rest of them were very easy to find, so we made our way over to the final Liyue mint, which I marked about an hour ago but forgot about it, finishing off Liyue in 5 hours, 22 minutes, and 1 second, and collecting 704 mint, bringing up our total to 1064. Now we are 2 under the documented amount for Liyue, and I think this time I possibly could have missed a couple of them just because there were that many, but like Mondstadt, there were a couple that also just didn't exist. It is time to Inazuma through Inazuma. Okay, forget I said that. Inazuma has 282 mint, which is less than Mondstadt and Liyue. It does make sense because the region has the least landmass out of all of them, but this actually works in our favor. The region is split up into 6 islands, and because of this, it makes it so much easier to collect mint. We can separate the collection process by island, and there are clear routes we can take to optimize this process. So just like how we split up our collection, we're gonna do the same thing for this video. Starting off with Narukami Island. It's very chill. There's about 40 mint here which are all easy to reach, and although there's a couple of them that are a bit out of the way, there's nothing really stopping us from getting all of them. Except for a few wobbleflowers. I actually went ahead and upgraded our normal attack to level 6 just for this challenge.
Skyward! Scatter!
These are all fake! Kanazuka is also pretty chill, apart from this wobbleflower that I died to. There's a few mint lying around the edge of Tataratsuna, but I've already done that quest, so there's no worries here as well. There's a mint in the Selectro field that requires an Electrogranum to dispel. Yashiori Island has a 1 mint in this annoying location here, and a couple in the gorge, but we can leave as soon as we grab it so we don't take much damage at all. There's another Electro field mint, so I went towards this Electrogranum, and there just happened to be a wobbleflower disguised as a sweet flower right next to it. Like, hello, why is this here? Which dev made the decision to put it right next to the Electrogranum? I want to know, please let me know. Seirei Island has almost all of its mint around the cat shrine, and today I learned that cats are attracted to mint because it's like catnip, so yeah, this makes a lot of sense. What the hell? What's going on here? Please be regular mint. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. You there. Tsurumi Island has no fog because I've also done this quest as well. In fact, I've actually completely explored almost everything in Teyvat with the exception of some world quests, the Chasm, Enkanomiya, most of Sumeru, and a bit of Nod-Krai, so there's almost going to be no blockers for this challenge. Even with the fog dispersed, there's not that much in Tsurumi Island, and all of the mint is pretty low in altitude. We don't have to climb any of the mountains with the exception of this one here. Finally, Watatsumi Island is very beautiful and has purple grass, so it's very easy to spot mint. In fact, there just happens to be a bunch of undocumented mint here. Like this whole bit of land here has like 6 to 7 extra mint just lying around for no reason, but hey, I'm not complaining. Free mint for me. Ah, Mint's over here. Ah, shit.
Skyward!
What?
Wait!
Why does electric charge do that much damage? And as we collect the final mint in Inazuma after 6 hours, 47 minutes and 11 seconds, we have collected a total of 1350 mint, which means 286 in Inazuma. Thanks to the extra mint in Watatsumi, we've collected 4 more than the documented amount on the map. Inazuma was probably the best mint collection region yet, but how about what lies beneath? Enkanomiya has 213 documented mint and is the only isolated region to have any. The chasm has none. Hold up. Hello, this is post-edit me here. I'm recording this literally like a couple days before the video goes out, but there is mint in the chasm. And I only realized this because I was in the middle of filming Dahlia only, and I happened to stumble across some mint. And not just some, like quite a lot of it. So there's a lot of undocumented mint in the chasm that I didn't even know about. Just thought I'd let you know there's probably like a ton of them here, but I didn't pick them up during the recording. So back to the video. The Sacred Mountain is too sacred for mint, and the Sea of Bygone Eras can definitely grow mint underwater. Like Inazuma, this place is kinda separated by islands, so it makes it a bit easier to collect mint, but the place is just a lot smaller as well. It has almost the same amount of mint as Inazuma, but within the size of 1.5 of its islands. Not only that, but the place is overrun with enemies. Literally everywhere you go, it's impossible not to be in combat. With no statues of the 7 down here, we can only rely on our burst to heal, and we need to dodge every single attack if we're going to get through this region. This is basically impossible with the Ruin Mechs, having an almost undodgeable attack. What the hell? Okay, this one was my own fault though. We're actually incentivized to use our skill to attack enemies just to get enough energy to burst. Even though you'd think Enkanomiya looks pretty well documented, there are a couple of extra mint that I found under here that weren't in the map, so sure, a little extra for ourselves. Now, Enkanomiya actually has a few secret islands that don't show up on the map, so after collecting all of the mint on the main islands, we go ahead and take this portal to the one island with all of the remaining mint. There's no enemies here, but I've never been here before, so I spent a little bit of extra time wandering around the place before picking the final mint Enkanomiya had to offer in 7 hours, 34 minutes and 20 seconds, which meant we have collected 219 mint, bringing up our total to 1569. We've collected an extra 6 mint thanks to the bunch we found earlier, so we're a good 9 mint ahead in total. So let's see if we can continue this in the next region. Okay, what the fuck is this? Yeah, you're seeing this correctly. Sumeru has 603 mint and 95% of it is all condensed in this one area that's half the size of Liyue. This is an absolute nightmare for mint pickers. They're so clumped together that it's hard to make out picking routes, and also some areas are just a pain to navigate. How the hell is this going to work? There are some parts that I can kinda section off a bit. For example, this part where the river splits part of the land and this line of mint here. This is where I'll be tackling first. Every other area is kinda tough to split up, but I did manage to find a way. Now I did say that it's tough to follow routes, but there is something that I figured out. Mint naturally spawns near paths. There are plenty of places on the map where you can see this, and even in game. A lot of mint was collected just by following these paths, and it singled out all of the other mint that was yet to be collected. There's also a lot of mint that spawn under these teleport clover things, so if you're close enough to a path and you see a clover, chances are there's also a mint right next to it. We did die a couple of times here, mainly due to our skill running out, and this other mint I spent about 5 minutes looking for because it was on one of the tree platforms. But most of the other mint was pretty easy to find, except for a lot of them that just don't exist. Sumeru, for some reason, just has a lot of mint that doesn't exist. They're just not there. Like, I think there's about 3 or 4 in this small area here that's not in the game. This mint here is fake, but documented in the map is real. And these 3 mint here are also just not in the game. And this is just around one mountain, by the way. There were several spots on the map where there's just false mint, so let me just tell you how many there were because this was one of the most unexciting mint collection regions. Skipping to the very end, we collected the last mint in Sumeru in 10 hours, 45 minutes and 27 seconds, which put us at a total of 2,130 mint, meaning we collected 561 mint in Sumeru. So we are 42 short of the documented number. Now I don't think there's this many that are missing from the map. Some of it could be due to my error. I do think there's at least 20 false mints there, but it definitely didn't feel like 40. It still could be though. But if Sumeru was the region of missing mint, Fontaine is the region of a mint surplus. Fontaine as a region is kind of similar to Inazuma in the sense that there are land masses that are separated by water. Combined with the fact that the number of documented mint here is only the small number of 247, collecting mint here is very relaxing. Don't get me wrong, there are still undocumented mint here that don't exist in game, and wildflowers that I accidentally disturb, but for the most part it's a very chill experience. Unfortunately, there's about 8 mint here that are not in my world anymore because I've done the quests that sink the tower. Like Sumeru, a lot of mint follows the paths on the map, and it's very evident in this region, so it seems very easy to collect them all. But what if I told you that's not true? You see this massive amount of mint in the top here? What if I told you that that's not the place where the majority of the mint actually is? Genshin likes to release areas in different patches, and in 4.1, this is what the map looks like. 4.2, however, added this whole section of land, and with that, a lot of mint. But how much mint exactly? Looking at the interactive map here, there's quite a lot, and that's what I thought until I actually teleported to the waypoint and found a couple of stray mint where it shouldn't be. And after I saw these 2 mint, I saw 4 more. And then there were even more. And then when I saw no more after that, I thought, wow, that's really weird. How can one strip of land have no documented mint? Until I went further and found even more. At this point, I was stumped. I already had 10 extra mint sitting in my bag. I did a full circle around the Weeping Willow to fill my pockets with any extra mint I did manage to find. And wow, was there a lot. But as I finished collecting mint here, I found some more just sitting out in the open. It wasn't just the willow. It was the entire map. Mint literally everywhere. Look, I'll keep it short but sweet. Fontaine doesn't have a lot of difficult to reach mint apart from maybe the Clockwork Shop and this other one that you have to dive into a cave for, and a lot of them are just around the paths as I said already. But the whole region took only a bit more than an hour long, and we did manage to collect 297 mint in 11 hours, 58 minutes and 35 seconds. That's close to 5 mint a minute, and also 50 over the documented number. This more than makes up for the lack of mint that we picked in Sumeru. It's just so crazy that this one particular area had so much extra mint lying around. It must be some sleazy Fontainian merchant hogging the extra locations to themselves like always. Natlan is basically a nothing region for mint gathering. There's a total of only 98 documented mint in this region. There's literally one singular mint over here, and then the next closest one is at the People of the Springs. Even then, there's only 9 of them here, and they're very easy to get to. The Tokpan only has 4, and there's 9 around the Masters of the Nightwind. So I decided to make the challenge a little bit harder. We're not allowed to use any Saurian in Natlan. The remaining mint in the region can be collected real fast with the help of Saurians, especially around Natlan, so we're going the extra mile and truly collecting all of the mint with only Xianyun. There's a couple in Tokoroapan Bay, but thankfully we don't have to climb anything to get them. But the ones here are a little harder to get. Most of the islands are still close enough for us to use our skill and glide across, but there are some locations that need a little bit extra work. Also, we went all the way over to this island just for there to be no mint here, so that sucked a bit. This mint here was a sneaky one, but that's kinda it for Natlan. Every other mint here was pretty visible and easy to collect. So onto the Easy Breeze Resort. The cool thing about this place is there's basically no enemies here. We are free to collect mint as if we're on holiday, which is kind of the point of the place. There are a few places that need a bit of grit to get to, but every other mint is just sitting there without any waffle flowers waiting to get a quick one on us. This short Natlan gathering session put us at a total of 2,524 mint in 12 hours, 31 minutes and 49 seconds, meaning we collected 97 out of the 98 documented mint here, thanks to the one I talked about earlier. So moving on to the last step of our journey. Nod-Krai isn't anything special when it comes to mint gathering, but as our final stop, I'd have to say a few good things about it at least. About 2/3 of the mint in Nod-Krai are located in Lempo Isle. Most of these are in the mountainous region, but there are still a few located close to the sea, such as in Star Sand Shoal and in the Eye of Krati. It was honestly a very chill place to collect mint. I feel like a lot of them were pretty close to waypoints, which helped a lot, and this stays true for the other islands too. Especially if you look at the newest region, all the mint are only seconds away from a waypoint, which makes it very easy to collect. Hisi Island has only 2 mint, and the mint on Paha Isle form a pretty straightforward route. The only annoying mint are the ones on this island off the cemetery. I saw the Kuhenki line here, but I was like, nah, screw it, Shenyun can definitely make this. And as a matter of fact, she did, all for 2 mere mint. The final mint. There we go! 13 hours, 5 minutes and 18 seconds. We had finally done it. We had collected 157 out of the 156 mint in Nod-Krai, giving us a total of 2,681 collected mint, which is 17 more than the documented amount. So let's get into the punishment. From my notes here, it says we've died about 8 times, so let's go ahead and make Shenyun cook 8 suspicious sweet madams. I didn't even know you could get an achievement for that. Hold on. Cook 10 suspicious tasting dishes. Let's go sit down and eat your chicken. Ah, you're too full? Ah, fuck. Okay, let's...
Wait!
And there we go. Challenge complete. So let's rate mint on the scale to see how it compares to the rest of my runs. For combat, I'm giving mint a 0. This thing cannot survive in the wild at all. You see this thing? Plucked out of the earth like it was nothing. This guy doesn't count as a mint. For farming, I'm giving mint a 0. This was absolute torture. Compared to other characters needing 108 mats, more than 2,500 mint was just something I never want to go through ever again. For exploration, mint gets a 0. This thing just cannot move. And lastly, for enjoyment, it's obviously a 0. Who in their sane mind would put themselves through collecting mint for over 13 hours? I personally do not know anyone who would do such a thing. So there we have it. Mint's final score is 0 out of 20, putting it below Ian-san and scoring the lowest solo challenge run to date. Okay, obviously that was a joke. And going forward, I won't be putting it in my official rankings, but this challenge was terrible, and I hope you all at least enjoyed watching me doing such a mundane task. Did I have fun this challenge? No. Was it a worthwhile experience? Of course not. But was it a meaningful use of my time? One that I'll look fondly back on in the years to come. One that I'll always remember as such a great achievement to have collected every single mint in Teyvat? Yeah, nah, fuck no.